Hello and welcome to the TMZ Podcast. I'm Charlie Cotton. This is Derek Kaufman.
There I am, back in action. You want to report on what happened on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, let's see. Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah, okay. This is a to be continued.
We had a side chat about this.
So on Friday's episode, it was Valentine's Day. I told you to whisper sweet nothings down the line to your loved one, Mary.
And you want to know if we had a sweet, sweet night of passionate lovemaking? Did not.
It didn't happen.
Did not. She was sick all weekend. I think it was a little put on, though. I can hear a cough when it really has a little substance in it, and I can also hear a movie cough. It was one of those. Empty. No, she wasn't feeling well.
So she owes you one.
I would say 2. Minimum. We got a lot of catching up to do.
Tax. Well, what about Saturday night then? How was your Saturday night live, if we were there live?
You know, these big shows, I've seen some. Well, we'll talk about it. You want to talk about it? You want to get into it now, or talk about everything we're going to talk about?
Well, okay, we're going to talk about SNL. It was on Saturday night, obviously. It was pretty big. Cardi B also. Big news about her because she's moved on, it looks like, with like the guy you don't want your girl to move on with.
This is going to piss off Offset. I don't care how smooth you are. I just don't think this sits well.
It was terrible. And finally, we'll talk about Wendy Williams because she's out and about. She's out of her prison, shopping around Miami, looking at perfumes. Everything looks good.
Looking good. We'll see. Maybe this is the photos that end the guardianship.
Could be. To begin with, SNL was over the weekend, and quite a few storylines coming out of their 50th anniversary episode. Probably the biggest one being Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds being there.
It's the biggest because it's the hottest story right now that happens to overlap with the SNL 50th show. I think in general, this wouldn't be the biggest thing about the SNL 50th, but right now that story is just incredibly huge. And Ryan Reynolds showed up to the 50th.
Okay, let's play some of that clip now.
A question?
Oh, hey, Ryan Reynolds. Hey. Ryan Reynolds, how's it going?
Funny.
It's
Great.
just
Hi,
everything
Wendy.
about Ryan Reynolds is so manicky. That's a lot what this case is about. They're all about their image. He needs to project that we're cool. He's going to make a joke about everything that's going on, which is really probably crushing his soul and his whole public image. She's sitting there, keeps a smile on, through gritted teeth. I mean, they want to win the war of this moment was huge to me because at the end of the day, he makes a joke about what have you heard? Obviously, it's a big deal. What it really says to Justin Baldoni is we're at the cool kids table. Don't forget that. We're at the SNL 50th. We have the plum seats. We're there during the monologue. Justin Baldoni, who is also part of this story, would never be big enough to show up. So Lorne Michaels, who loves to surround himself with a cavalcade of A-listers, wouldn't deign to have a Justin Baldoni. No. So the two cool kids get to show up, and it's a little bit rubbing Baldoni's nose in it. Didn't you think?
Yes, I do. Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively.
Baldoni couldn't go to Mad TV's 10th.
Right, that's true.
This is SNL's 50th. He's not going to get to go.
I mean, I know that a lot of celebrities who weren't on the show regularly were there in attendance, but were Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively sort of like big enough or prominent enough throughout the years of SNL to get a seat, and deliver a line on their night of nights?
Not at all. What I think it is SNL writers, it's like a big juicy steak. They're like, we got to have a Baldoni, Lively, Ryan Reynolds joke, and they'll play along. And so I think they probably got called. I don't think they sort of pawed at Lorne Michaels' door to go to the SNL 50th. The writers were like, we got to do this, and if they'll play.
People online were annoyed. They think that SNL is over here trying to clean up their image, and people are not happy about that. I am fine with it.
I'm fine with it. SNL makes jokes. This is the most topical thing you can make a joke about.
Totally.
If not here, then on Weekend Update, they would have a reference to it, and they'd rather play along and do it in the monologue. I have no problem with it. That's what SNL does.
Also, there were quite a few exes at SNL, primarily Kim Kardashian and Pete Davidson.
That's right.
They ran into each other. They're both single, ready to mingle?
Yeah, I think, he's an alum, obviously. He's been in the cast for a long time. Now he's tattoo-less or going tattoo-less, added a little bit of weight. He's trying to have like another moment where he's leading man good looks or something. I thought her involvement was a little forced. To be honest with you, she's been on one episode of SNL. It was mid. She kissed him as Jasmine from
True.
Aladdin. I didn't think it was like she was big enough to have the sort of stage she had at the 50th. Did you?
What?
I know we work here, but she's not SNL 50th.
I mean, yes and no. Someone played the butt bongos on her. Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't like the butt bongos. So those exes was there. Also, back to Ryan Reynolds. His ex was there. Scarlett Johansson. They'd been married for years.
That's right.
And now they're both hanging out.
Are you curious what she has to say? She's now an SNL wife. She's Colin Jost's wife. She is part of the inner circle, the inner family of SNL because Colin Jost's head writer. He's the Weekend Update guy for one of the longest tenures. What do you think she thinks, and why has she stayed out of the fray? It's almost like when you're at SNL, you don't want to get into the tawdry tabloid stuff. She's like, I'm an exalted.
She definitely doesn't.
She doesn't, right?
If anything, remember how if any news story comes out, kind of linked to her, she'll come out like defend herself, or remember there was that AI story, and she had to come out and say that's not me, even though we all knew it wasn't about her. And then there was some sort of Siri voice that sounded a bit like hers, and she had to come out and say that's not my voice. And it's just like it feels like she has to like respond to a lot of these things, but she hasn't responded to this one.
Yeah, and I'm just shocked. It doesn't even seem like anyone shoved a microphone in her face to be like, what do you think of Ryan Reynolds? He's the biggest story in the world. Maybe she's just not going to answer or put herself in a position on a red carpet to answer those questions, but I am surprised no one's asked her, right? Like, what's this guy like? Does he yell at people? Seems to yell at just about nobody. Did he ever yell at your dad or anything?
Aubrey Plaza was there,
yeah,
which was really nice to see because obviously her husband tragically passed away recently, under very tragic circumstances, but she was there in her tie-dye top, which is a shout out to him. It was just great to see a public appearance from her.
Yeah, she's asked for privacy after, I mean, just devastating, the way her husband passed away recently, and it was good to see her. Your mileage may vary on what you think of Aubrey Plaza's shtick, but she's going through a lot. So to show up and get some laughs, it was nice. It was a nice moment.
And a final moment that stuck out to me and caught more controversy than I thought it would is Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks was there looking like a redneck. Well, that's what he was playing. And basically he was wearing a MAGA hat and made racist sort of jokes. I thought it was a bit lazy.
I did too, actually. So Tom Hanks is an important institution of SNL because he was the first Five Timers Club kind of guy, or one of the first. So he's one of those hosts who's hosted so many times that he's basically like a cast member. He's considered so good at SNL. They should have done better by him. I thought it was lazy. I agree with you. Like Tom Hanks, like Alec Baldwin and a few others, Steve Martin, they should have really prominent roles in the 50th because they're such an important part. And it was kind of lazy to see him in the MAGA hat. I was like, that's too of the moment. It won't be as lasting as it needs to be.
I actually thought it was too of maybe 2017.
Yeah, a little
where
dated.
you kind of poke fun at conservative ideas and you're wearing a MAGA hat and you're putting on that accent.
Yeah.
And to have it in 2025, I was like
a little tone deaf as to where we are now. The resistance of the first administration, it feels different this time. Yeah.
That joke has been told already, and I feel like we're moving on to a place where we have more complex views about conservatives and why they vote the way they do and think the way they do, and just to kind of minimize it to the character Tom Hanks was playing, I thought was kind of like it didn't hit.
Wasted opportunity. Yeah. I thought they used Eddie Murphy really well. They did not use Tom Hanks very well.
Okay, on to our next story. Cardi B stepped out for a dinner date with Stefon Diggs. Now, Stefon Diggs,
big football player
and big ladies man. Like, you can go online and see like clips of NFL players talking about the guy they'd least like their sister to date. And to a man, they say Stefon Diggs. It's very interesting now that Cardi's with him because there were rumors swirling for a long time that Stefon might have been the guy that Cardi stepped out on Offset with while she was pregnant. I don't know if that's true or not, but Stefon Diggs is that guy. And to see them together on Valentine's Day at 2 a.m.
This is deliberate. This is intentional. On Valentine's Day is to stick Offset's nose in it, right? I mean, Cardi B, we've heard some of the audio tapes of how like sort of sad and volatile she can be about Offset. He upsets her. And like, I think she deserves every ounce of this kind of revenge. tour that she's on because he embarrassed her a lot. She's a very big A-list celebrity, and to us, it looked like Offset just trampled on her and sort of slept with other women, incorrigible, and she's like, I'm Cardi B. I can get anyone I want as well, and this is her proving it to sort of gain the upper hand again, don't you think?
Yeah.
I think she's the bigger star. I mean, Offset's very big. The Migos are huge, but she's Cardi, man.
These are very interesting days for this couple, these exes, because on Friday, Offset come out with a diss track basically about Cardi called 10. And the premise of the track is she's going to have to sleep with 10 guys to get over him. And he sleeps with all these girls and he doesn't care about her. And Cardi's just another hoe to him, basically.
This is the mother of his children.
That comes out Friday.
Yeah.
Friday night is when Cardi's with Stefon Diggs.
She may have to sleep with 10, but Stefon Diggs counts as 9 of them. Like, he is just like, he's the ultimate trump card. So she hears this thing. She's like, okay, cool. Valentine's Day, I know who I'm spending it with, Stefon Diggs. And Offset can act as cool as he wants. This stings. I don't care who you are.
It stings, but also, if she's with Stefon Diggs, doesn't that show you that she hasn't really moved on from you? That this is still like trying to get you back, but Stefon Diggs is not the guy you settle down with or like grow true feelings. I mean, I don't know the guy, but apparently he goes through them.
Yes. But what hurts a guy like Offset more? Her falling in love again with like some, nerdy executive and starting a family together, or sleeping with Stefon Diggs on Valentine's Day? Which hurts Offset more? I can see you projecting what would hurt you more. And I agree with you. That would hurt me more too.
If I was her, I'd probably do both, but I'd start with Stefon.
That's a nice starting place,
it's a good
right?
Start.
Right?
Okay, on to our next story. Wendy Williams, she is out of her, in inverted commas, prison, and she's down in Miami. She's visiting her father, and she's going a little shopping. She's going to perfume stores. She's in a wheelchair.
It's a scooter, like a rascal.
She's in a rascal, which doesn't speak to her overall health, but I guess this is physical health, and we're talking about her mental health. So it's interesting just to see her on a scooter.
Yeah, what she does look like, she's all smiles. She looks as focused as she can be. She's on that rascal. She's not speaking, but when you're suffering from mental illness, and we've seen those, any sort of mental condition. She doesn't have mental illness, but like dementia, which she is said to have been diagnosed with. We've seen the pictures of her in the window, and she looked sort of desperate. Here, she looks fine. She really does look like someone who can navigate the world a little bit. She's not speaking, so we don't know if she's got aphasia or memory loss and things of that nature. But she's interacting. She doesn't look lost.
Oh, God, that scooter looks fun too, doesn't it?
She looks like she's kind of having a blast. It's all blinged out with the NYC on the front.
And she's just weaving through traffic, like have her phone up and then steering this, like, is it, what do you call it again?
We call it a rascal.
Rascal.
That's actually the name brand. Like Jacuzzi's the name brand of hot tub, but every one of them is kind of called a rascal. But she looks like she's engaged. She looks like she's sort of plugged in as much as she can be. And Wendy was always a little kooky. So this doesn't look like someone who needs to be institutionalized. I will say that. And I feel happy for her. Some of the audio that came out was her being upset about not being able to see her father, who I believe turned 90. She wanted to get him a gift, get him a fragrance, go to Miami, and now she's getting to do it.
Fantastic. All right, let's leave out some of your comments that I forgot to tell you to leave. On the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, SNL comment, Deb says, I love Blake and Ryan Reynolds. Despite what happened, they are going to blacklist her and Ryan.
Oh, who? I'm wondering who is going to blacklist who?
They.
Who's the they there? The world?
Just kind of like the Illuminati.
I don't think so. They're there at SNL, and Baldoni's nowhere to be found.
True, they are the Illuminati, if anyone.
Yeah, you can't blacklist me. I'm the blacklister.
She loves Blake and Ryan Reynolds.
I see CA said this was a weird move. That's the perfect comment. You need, 5 words to describe. It's just weird. He could have stayed out of it, not tried to have a moment on SNL and said, go ahead and make your joke on Weekend Update, but I'm not going to stand up and play into it.
But if you're Blake and Ryan, because Ryan's just really roped into this now, how do you, because Baldoni is over in Hawaii, and every day I see new amazing photos of him on his surfboard, looking ripped with a big smile on his face.
Yep.
Like, I believe that guy is not worried.
Yes.
So what do Ryan and Blake do? Because they want to give the public the impression they're not worried.
Yeah, they have a different task, though, because they're being framed as bullies. And then when you go on SNL, which is the glitziest of the glitziest reunion, shows going on, you look like a bully. You look like you're making a joke at his expense at the Who's Who Club. And so I thought it was a weird move. They should also go to a beach and hang out with their family.
Go to a beach, guys. Lisa says, this was shocking about Ryan Reynolds, a blatant disregard for anything they have done. It was a show of popularity and pomp. The absolute nerve. Oh, I love that saying, the nerve. It does not strengthen their case. It diminishes their shithouse case. Does SH stand for shithouse?
Sexual harassment, I believe.
Oh, my God.
Did you think SH was shithouse?
Is that an Australian expression? That diminishes
We don't have
the
anything
SH case.
Yes, her sexual harassment case. Thank you,
my
Wild.
bad.
I agree with Lisa. I don't see the name Lisa spelled that way often, but I agree with the sentiment of the comment. I like it.
Leesa.
That's a cool way to spell Lisa.
On the Wendy Williams thing, David says Wendy is having a blast on the scooter. I mean, I kind of want a scooter. Scooters are the best way, or wheelchairs, if you want to get through TSA quickly.
Oh, yeah.
Just, you can call ahead and say, I need one of your wheelchairs. They will get you to the front of the line. They'll push you through the thing.
Those things probably go 10 to 12 miles an hour, too. You
Right.
can get on a nice clip. Look, I do think she was having a blast. The one thing I will say, it's a little bit of a safe way of coming out. If she had spoken to reporters and got to hear the full thing, people would be more convinced than just seeing her on the scooter smiling. But we'll see how it plays out.
And finally, Lisa wants to fill us in about her Saturday night. This is the some would argue the more correct spelling of Lisa.
That's right. That is conventional Lisa.
She says, my Saturday night was awful. My boyfriend took me to a restaurant and that my ex used to work at. When I asked if she still worked there, he did not sound confident.
Wow.
I mean, why?
It is a ballsy move of that guy. You've got like, it's an unforced error. Take her to a different restaurant. This is your current girlfriend. Why are you gonna even roll the dice on that?
That the ex works at.
Yeah, you wouldn't roll the dice. You can only screw up your evening. You're not gonna score with the ex anyway, so might as well. I'm with you, Lisa.
Very interesting.
And we don't need to read that last one
Very interesting. Oh, Anthony wants. Why is that highlighted?
because you wanted to make sure you said it.
Yeah, Anthony says we miss Charlie Neff. Where is Charlie Neff today?
I don't know. Where's Neff? Does anyone know where Neff is? It's a holiday today. Maybe she's honoring President's Day.
Could be.
The fallen George Washington. She's still not over it.
Could be. I think she called out sick, but didn't she do this same play last Monday?
You know it's President's Day. She's going to be posting something in red, white, and blue.
Yeah, in a bikini.
In a full bikini, saluting the soldiers or something, all mixed up. Yeah.
Oh, God. All right. Well, thanks for joining me, Derek.
Always fun.
And we'll see you guys here tomorrow. Goodbye.